Tejano superstar Selena Quintanilla Perez has been shot, allegedly by Yolanda Saldivar, her fan club president. Apparently, Selena was meeting Saldivar to recover missing financial records from the singer's family.
Perez was brutally gunned down in Corpus Christi, Texas this afternoon. Main suspect in the shooting is Yolanda Saldivar.
Corpus Christi, Texas, la famosa cantante tejana.
As we reported earlier, Ms. Saldivar is barricaded in her truck.
A woman is still inside her pickup truck. Now, I am being told by reliable police sources that the woman could be the singer's manager or one of her managers.
Herself with the gun allegedly used in the shooting.
I can't put the gun.
Why? Tell me why, Yolanda.
Because I'm ashamed of what I've done.
Selena was meeting Saldivar to recover missing financial papers when Saldivar allegedly
I
shot.
don't deserve to live.
Saldivar, a resident of San Antonio, was meeting Selena to hand over financial records.
Look at what I've done to my best friend.
Selena, who grew up in Corpus Christi, was just 23 years old.
On March 31st, 1995, Selena Quintanilla Perez, known simply as Selena, would have her last meeting with her fan club president Yolanda Saldivar at a Days Inn motel in Corpus Christi, Texas. Selena's father and manager, Abraham Quintanilla Jr., began receiving reports that Yolanda was embezzling money from both Selena's fan club and her two clothing boutiques. On the evening of March 9th, with his daughters Selena and Suzette, Abraham requested to have a meeting at Selena's office in the family's recording studio to confront Yolanda. Abraham told Yolanda if she didn't provide evidence that disproved his accusations, he would involve the local police and would forbid Yolanda from having any contact with Selena and the rest of the family.
I became aware of the embezzlement and I showed it to Selena. I remember Selena said, "Dad, really? It doesn't sound right." So she started checking things out when then she started seeing the discrepancies, So we called a meeting to confront Yolanda, and Selena fired her right there that same night. She told her that she couldn't trust her anymore.
Despite Yolanda being fired, Selena didn't want to completely dissolve their friendship, thinking Yolanda could be essential in the success of the clothing line in Mexico, and also wanted to keep Yolanda close in order to retrieve her bank statements and financial records. In the days leading up to March 31st, Yolanda would delay handing over the bank statements and financial records by saying she had been attacked by a man in Mexico. Selena would meet Yolanda at a medical clinic in Corpus Christi the morning of March 31st, 1995, in which Yolanda would be given a brief physical exam by the clinic's doctor. Many would question why Selena would meet Yolanda again by herself later that fateful Thursday afternoon to retrieve the financial records at the Days Inn motel. At the motel, Selena demanded the financial papers. At 11:48 a.m., Yolanda retrieved a gun she had recently purchased from her purse and pointed it at Selena. As Selena attempted to leave the room, Yolanda shot her once on the right lower shoulder.
Shot hits Selena in the back and comes out the front. Selena's reaction immediately is to start running. Yolanda brings the gun down and she says, "Bitch!" Screams at her. This is when all the witnesses in the hotel start watching what's going on. And they all say they cringe because they thought she was going to shoot again. She runs down toward the lobby.
Please, someone help me. I've been shot. Oh, please help me. Somebody please help me. Somebody help me, please. Please, somebody help me.
Oh my God. It's okay, it's okay. Hold on.
Yolanda. Room 150.
What can I on one?
What is your location? Days Inn Motel. It's 901 Navigation Boulevard. What's wrong, ma'am? We have a woman ran in the lobby, said she's been shot. She's laying on the floor in his blood. 911 emergency. We need a police officer. Someone's been shot over here at Navigation. Days Inn. At Days Inn? Yes. Okay, what room number? What room number? She's out here on the parking lot, 158. Okay, who shot her? Yolanda. Yolanda? She's a suspect? Yes, ma'am. What's her last
Selena was taken to the hospital, and despite undergoing emergency surgery at age 23, just 16 days before her 24th birthday, Selena was pronounced dead at 1:05 p.m. from blood loss and cardiac arrest. Corpus Christi police officer responds to the call. Having covered the quarter mile to the hotel in under a minute, the police officer encounters Yolanda driving a red pickup truck, attempting to exit the motel parking lot. Yolanda sees the police cruiser, stops and backs up, and parks opposite of the motel lobby. Her truck is blocked in by the officer's vehicle. Once parked, Yolanda takes a gun, points it at her head, and refuses to get out of the truck.
He let me do all this. He threw me out of the house. He threw me out of her life.
It would finally surrender to the police after a 9.5-hour standoff. The trial would have to be moved to Houston because of the heavy publicity, with Yolanda's defense attorneys arguing that the .38 caliber revolver accidentally went off.
Mary, I'm so sorry.
I know you're sorry. I know you're sorry.
It was very emotional for her. She started hearing her own voice saying that she didn't do it intentionally, that she was trying to kill herself, and that probably brought back all her fears of that night.
But prosecutors argued the tapes did not show Yolanda was genuinely sorry. Instead, they demonstrated how Yolanda's plan was carefully premeditated. Only 2 days after the meeting in which Yolanda was fired, she applied and purchased the gun she would later use to end Selena's life. Yolanda was so pleased she had not been casted out from her idol's life. She actually returned the gun, but as Selena began to press Yolanda to return important business documents, Yolanda returned to the gun store, buying back the gun for a second time. Prosecutors demonstrated in the recordings that only after the negotiator offered Yolanda the idea the shooting was an accident, saying that sometimes guns just go off, did Yolanda change her story to the shooting was actually an accident.
Maybe there was an accident. Maybe there was a mistake. Maybe there was a faulty gun. It was a mistake.
Jurors listened to several hours of tape recordings between Yolanda and the police hostage negotiators. As the jurors deliberated, they inspected the gun itself.
The first thing that I wanted to do when the evidence came in, personally, was to feel the trigger pull on the weapon to see if it was a hair trigger or if it required effort to pull the trigger. You had to put pressure on it to get the hammer to fall. Do I think she meant to shoot Selena when the weapon discharged? Yes, I do.
It would take the jury just 2 hours to find Yolanda guilty of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison in Gatesville, Texas. Because of the many death threats she received, she was placed in isolation, and to this day she maintains she told the truth.
I did not kill Selena. It was an accident, and my conscience is clear.
After Selena's death, her family, her friends, and fans all over the world were absolutely devastated. And in disbelief of the loss of this cultural icon, a public vigil was held in Corpus Christi, and thousands of fans gathered locally to pay their respects. Selena's funeral was held on April 3, 1995, and was attended by over 50,000 people. So many could not come to grips that Selena was actually gone. Rumors quickly emerged that Selena did not pass away and was still alive, which drove the family to make a heartbreaking decision. Rather than leave the casket shut as planned, the family allowed the casket to be opened to dispel the rumors prior to Selena's burial. Selena Quintanilla Perez was born April 16, 1971 in Lake Jackson, Texas, and was the youngest of 3 children raised in a Mexican-American family, with English being her primary language growing up in Texas. Selena originally learned to sing the Spanish songs phonetically with her father's help, then later learned to speak Spanish more fluently. Her father, Abraham, was a former musician who began teaching all of his children music at a young age. Abraham had noticed Selena's music abilities when she was only 6 years old, and by the age of 9, she became the lead vocalist in the band her father formed called Selena Los Dinos, with Selena's brother AB on bass guitar and Selena's sister Suzette on drums. Over the next few years, they would add a few members and started recording for a small local label, playing a mix of Tejano and pop music. the band began performing at Selena's parents' family-owned restaurant, while also playing at weddings, fairs, and other small events around Texas. By the time she was a teenager, Selena had begun to attract a devoted fan base, known for her powerful voice and dynamic stage presence. Abraham had refurbished an old bus, which they named Big Bertha, and the family began using it as their tour bus. In the first few years of touring, the family sang for food and barely had enough money to pay for the gas to get to the next gig. Recorded in 1985 and released in '86, the single Dame un beso, which means give me a kiss, became a regional hit. Over the next few years, she continued to record music and perform with her family, releasing multiple albums, and often spoke about how important her family was to her. In 1989, Selena signed with Capital EMI Latin and released her self-titled debut album. The album was a success, and Selena became a rising star in the Tejano music world. Selena would go on to win a total of 44 of the 48 nominations at the annual Tejano Music Awards, earning her the nickname as the Queen of Tejano music.
Selena Quintanilla! Selena Quintanilla! And the winner is Selena!
Throughout the early 1990s, Selena released a series of successful albums and won numerous awards, including a Grammy Award for Best Mexican American Album in 1994. Things were also going well in Selena's personal life. After a trip to Mexico and on the return flight back home, romantic feelings sparked for Selena and Chris Perez, who had been hired as the band's newest guitarist. They hid their relationship, fearing Selena's father would try to break it up, after Abraham saw Selena and Chris acting romantically together on the tour bus. Abraham, initially upset with Chris, called him a cancer in my family, and threatened to disband the group if they continued their relationship, and would later go on to fire Chris from the band and preventing Selena to leave with him. After his dismissal, Chris and Selena secretly continued their relationship, and on the morning of April 2nd, 1992, they eloped, after concluding that Abraham would never approve of their relationship. Finally, after overcoming her father's objections, she agreed to move into the house next door to her parents after the two were married. The couple remained together until Selena's tragic death in 1995. Selena was beloved by her fans, who were known as Selena's Army. She had a special connection with her fans, and always took time to meet with them after shows and sign autographs. Selena's fans are extremely dedicated to her, and many credit her with inspiring them to embrace their Mexican-American heritage, to pursue their dreams, and even some have learned to sing her songs phonetically without knowing how to speak Spanish themselves. Selena was known for her distinctive fashion sense and was often praised for her bold and daring style. She designed many of her own stage costumes and often incorporated elements of traditional Mexican clothing. Selena's fashion sense became so influential that it inspired a new wave of Latina fashion designers and helped popularize Tejano chic style in the 1990s. Selena achieved another personal goal and dream when she launched her own clothing line called Selena Etc. in 1994, which featured a range of clothing, accessories, and fragrances. The line was a huge success, with many fans eager to emulate Selena's unique style. Selena's contributions to fashion are an important part of her legacy and help solidify her status as a cultural icon. Her influence continues to be felt today in the worlds of music, fashion, and entertainment. The legacy and influence of Selena Quintanilla Perez can be seen in various aspects of modern popular culture, as well as in the lives of her fans and fellow artists. Selena's impact on the music industry is undeniable. She helped popularize Tejano music and paved the way for other Latina artists to achieve mainstream success. Selena's success as a Mexican-American artist was a significant milestone for Latina representation in the media and inspired a new wave of bilingual and bicultural artists who continue to make their mark on the industry today. She is a role model for many young Latina people who see in her an example of someone who is proud of her heritage, paving the way for other Latina artists, actors, and performers. Those closest to Selena would tell you she was a down-to-earth, hard-working, loving daughter, sister, devoted wife, and a friend to all. To this day, Selena still inspires us. She was an idol to millions and a cultural icon. Yet at the same time, Selena was simply a humble and kind woman from Texas who loved motorcycles and animals. In Selena's presence, you couldn't help but see her genuine warm smile, and you would always hear her distinctive contagious laugh.
How do you want to be remembered?
As not only as an entertainer, but as a person who cared a lot,
and I gave the best that I could, and I tried to be the best role model that I possibly could, and the best person that I could. I tried to help out.
Selena's legacy is one of inspiration, resilience, and cultural pride that cannot and will not ever be forgotten.